Buonasera and benvenuti to Tortellino Time. This morning I cooked some cauliflower steaks which I fried in breadcrumbs, and during that video I mentioned that with the remaining cauliflower which is here in front of me, including some of the leaves, I would make a Sicilian pasta. All of the ingredients for this recipe are in front of me. I've got here some fresh plum tomatoes, but also you can use tin tomatoes. I've got a little basil, some fresh water, some garlic. I will be using spaghetti today, also olive oil, salt and pepper, and of course cauliflower. And I'll start the recipe by making a very simple tomato sauce, and I'll peel the skin from 4 small cloves of garlic. And I've sliced them all in approximately a couple of millimeter pieces. My baby plum tomatoes are very baby and are not very big at all, so I'm halving them. But if you're using anything larger, you might want to cut them into quarters. I'm now pouring a little olive oil in a saucepan, and I'll just start with the garlic. Temperature medium high, and the garlic has been sizzling for about 30 seconds, and I can add all of my tomatoes next. Followed by some salt and pepper, some fresh basil. I'll mix it well together. I'll place the lid on, I'll turn the temperature down onto medium, and I'll leave it to cook for about 10 minutes. And I'm back to my cauliflower, and I will use my hands rather than the knife where I can, and I'll separate each large floret into small florets. But in this case, where it's difficult, I'm going to use the knife. These are the external leaves of the cauliflower, and I'm going to do a couple of things. The very large pieces, like this one, which are going to be quite tough, I will just remove the leaf, and this one will go in my compost bin, including this. Whereas the smaller ones, which are very tender, I'll keep, and I'll cook them alongside my florets. And lastly is the trunk, which I also kept. I'll remove the bottom part, which is quite dark. In using a paring knife, I've gone along and removed the external piece, and this is very much the core. And I'll chop this into little slices like this, and that can be added also to my florets. This will ensure that the cooking time of my florets, my leaves, and the little trunk will be broadly the same. And I'll move everything into a saucepan, and I'm pouring in some cold water, enough to cover all of the collies, followed by a very little amount of white wine vinegar. This will prevent the cauliflower from growing brown, but also will stop any nasty smell, and it will make it nice and crunchy on the outside whilst remain soft on the inside. I will add a teaspoon of salt, and I'm ready to move to the stove. In the meantime, my very fresh tomatoes have cooked. The stove is off, and I'll top it up with some fresh basil and a drizzle of olive oil. I'll mix it well together, I'll place the lid on, and I'll leave it on one side to marinate. During this time, bearing in mind that the tomatoes are really hot, the fresh basil and the new oil will release a renewed set of flavors, making the sauce really tasty. The cauliflowers are beginning to boil, so I'll place the lid on and I'll turn them down onto medium now, and I'll leave them to just gently boil for about 7 or 8 minutes until they are al dente and crunchy. I will be following strict Sicilian tradition with this meal, and I'll be using broken spaghetti, but you can also use any short pasta like conchiglie, which are the little shells, or you can also use macaroni, anything you like, as long as it's short, because a long pasta like long spaghetti or long linguine or tagliatelle is not that suitable for this meal. The reason why long pasta will not be suitable is because this is going to be quite brothy, and clearly you will want a spoon. But chopping spaghetti is quite a fun thing to do, and they're about 2 to 3 centimeters each piece. And 7 minutes on, I'm ready to add my spaghetti to my cauliflowers. I'll turn the heat up as the spaghetti will have lowered the temperature, and I'll give them an initial mix. I'll turn it down again, and I will leave to cook for about 5 minutes. That won't take very long because the spaghetti are really small. And everything is cooked, but before I proceed, as I've got a little bit more water than what I want, I will remove some with the ladle. And I'll keep this as it is a beautiful starchy vegetable stock. And I've got enough water left to make into a lovely brothy meal without swimming in it. Next, I'll be adding all of my tomatoes, and I'll rinse my saucepan by drenching some of the water and pouring it in. And as soon as I put the tomatoes in, there is a wonderful smell coming up, and this is ready to be served. Beside it being really tasty, assuming you like cauliflowers of course, it's also incredibly healthy. And before I eat, I'll add a little bit more olive oil, a little basil on the top. At this point you can also add some cheese if you wish, like pecorino or grated parmesan. I'm not going to, because I like to taste the real flavors, so let's see. You can also squeeze in a little lemon if you want, but it's perfect. The last drizzle of oil and the basil, of course, they make a big difference, and it is absolutely delicious. Make it, let me know how you get on. Arrivederci, grazie, and as always, buon appetito. Ciao ciao.